And action. Okay. Welcome back to another episode of Question for Question. And we're here with Tay.
Train with Tay Ray.
Train with Tay Ray.
And Jay, Jordan Krause.
Tay and Jay.
Dr. Jordan Krause.
Dr. Jordan Krause. Do you want to do the intro?
One more time. I'll do it this time. Ready?
And action.
Welcome to another episode of
Question for Question.
I'm Tay, Train with Tay Ray, and this is Dr. Jordan Krause.
I'm Dr. Jordan Krause.
And today we're going to do things a little different than last time. We're going to answer questions and then just normal questions. And then I asked on social medias for people to submit questions.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that.
And yeah, thank you to those who submitted. So we're going to do a little segment called User Questions.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
I feel like we need the reverb on that. User questions. And then we're going to end with a segment called
Hot Topic.
Hot Topic. So,
ooh, I'm excited.
Let's dive right in. You get question number one.
All right. Question number one. Is running actually bad for your knees, or is that a myth?
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you start.
I will go first. Running is not bad for your knees. No, in fact, running is very good for your knees. Yeah. Running is very good for all of your joints. Mm-hmm. You might have pain in your knees while you're running.
Fair.
But running in and of itself is not bad.
No.
What have you, doctor?
If it was bad for your knees, old Tommy Cruise running up on the silver screen for the last 30 years, he'd just have no knees, but he keeps pumping out them impossible missions, and knees are looking good. High knees with old Tommy. No, you might have pain while you're running, and running might cause pain, but it's not because running necessarily is bad for your knees. Your body was designed to run. Your body was designed to move. The pain can be generated from poor stability of the knee, either above or below that joint, or it can be just from uneven wear and tear. You know, does driving your car create bad joints or bad shocks? No, but driving on uneven terrain or driving with an incorrect alignment, that can create some issues with your car. So it's not necessarily that the activity is bad. Mm-hmm. It's just that if you're having pain, go see a physical therapist, go see a chiropractor and get that diagnosed as to why, and let's see if you can get back to running pain-free, but keep moving.
Yes. And I coach some group fitness classes, and it's one thing that I'm constantly hounding people. Jump. Like, the impact is inherently good for your joints. It is. Right. It's going to build strength. It's going to build muscle density, bone mass, all of that. It's just going to increase all of that. And so jump. The longer you can jump, the older you are, the better off you're going to be.
100%. Builds resiliency.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Cool. Get that out of here. Question 2. Does cardio/running burn muscle and make strength gains harder?
Okay. For the general population, no. For ultra marathoners, for sure. If you are depleting your, glycogen in your muscles and the, sugar in your bloodstream, then absolutely you're going to have what's called gluconeogenesis, where it breaks down muscles or proteins and shuttles that to glucose through your liver. Absolutely that can happen, but for the general population, no. Just make sure you're eating enough calories, make sure you're recovering.
That's it.
Yeah.
Eat enough calories. Quit starving yourselves. Make sure you're eating protein. Like, if you're only getting 60 grams of protein a day, like that used to be a regular thing for me. No. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're only getting that much, then yeah, you're going to have a hard time keeping your muscles. Eat the protein, eat the calories, right. Fuel your body.
But it's not the running in that sense that's breaking it down. It's just not having enough protein.
It's the lack of calories and protein. Yeah. So just
for the general population, we would say, don't worry about that. If you're an ultra marathoner, then you should be looking into that. And hopefully you have a coach.
Yeah. And there's a way that, like, just because you're a marathoner doesn't mean you're going to burn your muscle by running. Like,
absolutely not.
You just have to be conscious of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Set up your diet for it. Yeah. Be aware of what you're eating. Yeah. Are you eating enough calories to sustain your long runs? You'll be fine. All right.
Ooh. That wasn't a good toss. Ooh. How embarrassing.
David Letterman would never pick me. Would never. Oh, that one wasn't good either. We have started something, and I hope you enjoy it, but it's not going well. All right, so here's a good one. classic. This one's going to be a real long debate, hot debate here. Can you spot treat fat?
No.
No. Bottom line,
I feel like we should throw the card.
just throw it. It's over.
No, you can't spot. Okay, at the end of the day, and this is a conversation I have to have regularly, especially with women, because so many women are like, I'm just like the last thing to go is right here. Like I'm just really struggling with my pooch.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
Listen, like I get it. The pooch is the hardest thing. But you can't spot treat it.
Yeah.
Doing core work, doing ab work is not going to make you just burn fat here. You're going to burn fat wherever your body wants to burn the fat. And some people genetically will burn their fat in their arms first. Some people will burn the fat in their butts first. Some people will burn the fat in their tummies first. It just depends on you and your body. All you can do is control whether or not you're in fat loss. If you are in a caloric deficit, your metabolic rate is high enough.
Yeah.
If you're doing the things to put yourself into fat loss,
you'll get there.
Then eventually it'll go. You just have to be patient.
Yeah.
But you can't spot treat it.
You can't spot treat. Genetics are the biggest driver of where you lose fat from. Some guys lose fat on their belly first and then have love handles until like the very end. Some guys, have heavier arms. And specifically, if you're a couple and you're working out together, you cannot like assess how your journey's going by how your spouse is, especially if you're a guy and a girl, and especially if you're a lady who's had a kid.
Yeah.
Like your guy's probably going to lose a couple more pounds quicker. Does he have more overall? Is he starting from a higher position? Maybe. But your journey is your journey. And so can you spot treat? No. Keep going. You will get there eventually.
Yep. Stick with it.
All right. Next.
All right. This is the last general question.
Okay.
What's the number one thing you see men and women doing wrong in the gym? I think we should answer this. Like, what do you see men doing wrong?
Okay.
And then what do you see women doing wrong? Because I think we do different things wrong.
For sure. For sure. For guys, it's as tale as old as time. Ego lifting.
Yeah.
Just ego lifting. Or especially if you're a guy who, is, late 30s or 40s or 50s and you're trying to get back into it, try not to lift like you used to. It's not a really great idea to go from a sedentary lifestyle into a 5-day bro split. Like get the basics back, practice your compound movements, and then add in auxiliaries, as you go. But don't try and lift heavy, especially if you're older. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like that, you trying to tear a tendon or trying to blow out a shoulder. That's a great way to do it. Right. Train for hypertrophy, 8 to 12 reps, even up to 15 reps. And I mean, studies are showing there's still muscle gains around 20 reps. And that's just going to be safer for your joints. It's going to be safer for your tendons. So guys, ego lifting hands down. What say you about the ladies?
I would give the ladies the same advice as that, but
sure.
I would say to answer the question, what's the number one thing that women are doing wrong in the gym? I mean, I see women overdoing it. Like it is still so prevalent from the 90s and that whole trend of like, we're going to do cardio every single day and we have to exercise every day in order to be fit. Like,
yeah,
that is such trash.
Yeah.
It is trash. Like I am in the best shape that I've been in, and I'm 30 years old. And
for sure,
I have 2 kids and I lift 3 to 4 times a week. Sometimes I get a day of cardio, but like I'm lucky if I hit 5 days, and my body needs that, right? And your body needs the rest. And so I see women all the time. They're coming into their group fitness classes. They're going in to see their trainer. They're going in 5, 6, 7 days a week. And they're like, I can't understand why I'm not losing weight. Well, you're not losing weight because your body's not recovering.
Right.
Your body needs to recover. You need deload weeks at a time where you're not pushing the weight, where you're still intentional with movement, but maybe we're not moving up in our weights. Maybe we're going down to 50% of what we normally do.
For sure.
And you need rest days throughout the week.
Yeah.
At least 1, but honestly, preferably 2.
For sure. I think the other main thing that I see across the board that women are doing, not as well as they could, is they're just not lifting heavy enough. True. I think just across the board, women underestimate how strong they are. Yep. I think guys overestimate how strong they are. Yeah. So let's all meet in the middle and sing a kumbaya. But for sure, like, I mean, how many women come in and grab like 10 pounds for dumbbell chest press or for squats or something. And they're like, listen, I know you got that 50-pound-year-old, 5-year-old running around that you're still picking up because
For
he's throwing
sure.
a fit or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I mean, how much the groceries like weigh?
Right.
Who's
You're
carrying more than
carrying in
one?
6 bags of groceries,
For
like,
sure.
in each hand.
Mhm.
That is easily 40 to 50 pounds. Your
Can be.
kids, you got anywhere from 20 to 50-pound kid. My freaking 55-year-old, 55-pound
Mhm.
kid still wants to be carried. Like, you can lift stronger than the 10-pound weights.
You look good for having a 55-year-old son.
55-year-old
Impressed.
son.
All right, let's see this
I'm
throw.
out here. All right, here we go.
It's good. All right. User submitted question on. New segment alert. All right. Is there a difference between plant protein and animal protein? This is a pretty general question. This could be a whole 30 minutes on its own. So
what were we talking about before this? It was the
protein. Oh my gosh.
PCAAS.
Correct. It's it's a system that rates the bioavailability of protein in all sources. So, I mean, it's got basically eggs is the gold standard at 1, and then like water would be 0. I think the lowest thing that they tested was gelatin, around 0.08 or 8% bioavailability of protein in that. And they kind of run up the scale. There's things on there like corn. I mean, everything's got a bioavailability scale, but the gold standard here is 0.9 or 90%.
Yeah.
And if it's over 0.9, we call it a good protein source, a high protein source. And if it's below that, it's a low protein source.
And it's the PDCAAS. So it's the protein digestibility corrected amino acid score. Protein digestibility corrected amino acid score.
Yeah, just long science term to say protein
PDCAAS.
bioavailability. So saying that, so that's something we can go to look up to see like what kind of food, what's the protein bioavailability here. But what about plant protein between animal protein and plant protein? Like what's the difference apart from the bioavailability?
Yeah, so a big part of protein is all made out of amino acids, right? And there's different amino acids. There's 9 essentials, and then you have your non-essentials, and then you have like some, what do they call them? Like they're basically semi-essentials where you can produce them on your own. But
It's better not to.
Right. It's sometimes you may need to supplement if you're sick or if you have something going on. But the essential amino acids you cannot produce on your own. You have to get those in your diet. Your body cannot synthesize them on your own. And so plants versus animal protein, plants are not going to have a complete amino acid profile. So if you're eating plant protein, you just have to make sure that you are getting all of those essential amino acids.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're eating animal protein in general, they will have a complete amino acid profile.
For sure.
It's going to be easier for you to get all of those.
For sure. That's the main thing. So, is your plant protein, is it a full, like Taylor said, are you getting all the amino acids you need out of it? Now, you can pair rice with beans, and those two together actually are a complete amino acid. But a lot of times, like, just corn or broccoli or rice, like those are all incomplete sources. So, but plant protein, like soy protein versus whey protein, you're going to get the same gains either way. There was a recent study that we just saw that if you're hitting your protein goals and you're hitting enough bioavailability in protein, that there's no difference in how much muscle you can gain across a study. That was a short study.
It was, but as long as your amino acid profile was complete, the gains were the same across the board. There was no difference between consuming plant protein or animal protein. So
also, this is just me being snooty, but like soy protein is yucky.
But some people like me for the longest time until I figured out my gut stuff. I'm super sensitive to whey protein.
And that's very common, especially for women.
Even still now, like if it's not an isolate, I am really sensitive. Like I'll get the gurgly goose and it's a whole thing. So, I mean, if you're sensitive to whey protein, soy is a wonderful alternative.
It's a great,
And as we said, as long as it's complete amino acid profile, you're fine.
Absolutely.
Do whatever you gotta do.
There you go.
Throw it. Oh, that was a good one. It had a little
Best
flutter at
one
the end
yet.
too.
Your turn.
All right, second user question. What's your thoughts on protein shakes and drinks? This is right in that same alley.
We'll piggyback.
Yeah,
Protein shakes and protein drinks. Protein shakes and protein drinks are supplements, not replacements. We want all of our clients to get all of their nutrition, vitamins, minerals, essential aminos from real food as much as possible. If at the end of the day you're not hitting those protein goals, go ahead and supplement it.
absolutely.
But real food over everything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I can say it any better than that. Real food is going to trump anything.
Yeah.
It's going to be more bioavailable.
Yep.
You're going to get more overall nutrients and minerals. Whereas with these drinks, even though they say they're pumping in all these little minerals and stuff, it's just not the same. And so, yeah, if you're drinking protein shakes as a meal replacement, I would tell you to stop doing that. Eat your meals. Calories are also important, right?
Yeah.
Like, I understand the whole thought of like cutting calories and I'm going to do a shake instead of a full meal, but like you need calories, as we said earlier. You need to fuel your body. So
For sure. And if you're using it as a meal replacement, like, are you going over your calories? Are you going under your calories? You're it seems like you're not really fixing the inherent issue
yeah,
of, like, getting your diet under control.
right.
You could be having, like, burgers and fries and exploding calories in the evening because you saved it with your meal replacement in the morning. And that's just not the best way to hit your goals.
Right.
You want to try and, work the nutrition as a whole thing, not
Right.
just a snapshot.
Right. And calories, like on that same note, in that same vein, if you're exploding your calories in the evening, like that's way worse than eating the same amount of calories throughout the day. Because if you're going to explode those calories in the evening, you're probably having a burger and fries or something really greasy or fat dense
True.
or carb dense, right? And so you're exploding those calories at the end of the day. Whereas if you eat the same amount of calories throughout the day, but you eat it in whole nutritious food, your body's going to get so much more out of it, right?
And it's going to be harder to hit that many calories.
For sure. Veggies and meat, get the foods you need. Maybe don't eat the McDonald's. Maybe don't have the ice cream. Like,
It's so good.
it's so good.
The ice cream is so good. All right, let me see you throw
All right.
this.
So protein drinks and shakes, not as meal replacement, great as a supplement.
Great as a supplement. Wonderful.
Guys.
It's getting worse.
That was my left hand. Oh, that was a good one.
All right. User question number 3.
Okay.
I'm having delayed soreness in my weak areas. Is there anything I can do outside of stretching and prioritizing protein to help myself recover faster?
So you're not going to like the answer to this. No, there is not really anything you can do as long as you are stretching and you're recovering, you're eating your protein.
Sounds like you're just describing being sore, which
You're describing muscle hypertrophy,
right.
and that's gonna cause soreness.
But after about a month and a half, this will lessen. Like, everyone still gets sore. We still get sore sometimes, especially if you do a lot of volume or if you do a lot of negatives or if you introduce a new training system.
Yeah.
That's possible. But I mean, you kind of buried the lead here with saying I'm having delayed soreness in my weak areas. Well, it sounds like they're weak areas.
Okay.
So you're doing the right thing, whoever
Right.
wrote this, and keep going because we're proud of you for sure.
Absolutely.
But you got to pay the cost to be the boss, and you're on your way.
Pay the cost to be the boss. Keep pushing.
I'm pretty sure I stole that from Rick Ross.
Rick Ross.
Rick
You
Ross.
gotta pay the cost to be the boss.
That's it.
All right. Number 4. Is hitting your daily minimum calories a big deal in repair and recovery? I've heard that if you don't hit your minimum caloric intake, your body will start using your protein for energy instead of muscle building. Is this correct?
We kind of already talked about this a little bit.
We have already a little bit.
With the running question, but is it a big deal? Well, it depends on what's your goal.
Yeah.
Are you a ultra marathoner? Then yeah, it's a real big deal.
For sure.
Are you in a weight loss program and you're trying to decrease your calories? Well, then no, it's not a big deal.
Yep.
But the bottom line is, no matter what your goal is, if you're not eating enough to recover, that's an issue. And if you're not eating enough that you're your body's again converting protein into glucose, then you're at a significant deficit, and that's an issue. But again,
Right.
gluconeogenesis of protein is very rare, and it's not something that the average American is going to find.
For sure. And I would also say an important thing to note here is how many days are you not hitting that daily minimum
Great
calorie,
point. Great
right?
point.
So like I like to think of it as a weekly average. Um some days I'm under my calories or
Mhm.
I'm a little bit under my protein. Say my protein goal is 150 grams of protein a day. That's a little high for a lot of people, but I'm tall and I'm big. So 150 grams of protein would be my goal. And some days I would hit maybe 145 or 140, even 135. And then some days I'm going to exceed it and I'm going to hit all the way up to 180.
Mhm.
My weekly average would want to be right near 150. So, same thing with calories.
Mhm.
If you're under your calories a day or two, not a big deal.
Not a big
Not
deal.
a big deal at all.
No.
So even if it's, even if you're 200 calories short, 300 calories short, still not a big deal. You're probably going to have a day in there where you're in a surplus.
Mhm.
Weekly averages is a good way to think of it.
Consistency is key. It
Yeah.
applies to lifting, it applies to recovery, it applies to eating.
Yep.
Um, just consistently stay consistent, and you're going to be okay.
Yep.
Don't beat yourself up over perfectionism.
For sure. Yeah. You have a bad day, get back on the horse the next day.
For
You'll
sure.
be all right.
All right. We should never have started this. She is going to hate this when she watches it back. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful.
How
All right.
embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Ask the next question.
User question number 5. I've been consistent for 6 weeks, and now all of the sudden I feel like I'm plateauing. I have an injury that has caused me to get less steps a day, and I might be eating slightly more than I was. Should I increase my protein, or what can I do to break through my plateau?
So there are multiple things to talk about here, but I think you answered the question in your question.
Yeah,
You did really well for 6 weeks. Awesome.
great
Good
job.
job. Keep going.
Mhm.
But you answered and said that you have an injury that's preventing you from getting those steps that you were getting.
Which happens.
Which happens, it absolutely happens, but that instantly tells me that we're already burning less calories throughout the day.
Yeah, if we're not moving
We're
enough.
not moving as much as we were, and I might be eating more,
Mhm.
a little bit more, doesn't matter if it's a little bit more or not, it's still a little bit more, that
Especially.
paired with the walking
Mhm.
or steps, like, that can make a huge difference, so I think that's a huge thing to think about,
That's the first place to start.
right, I if you do truly feel like you're doing those things and the steps are not that big of a deal, maybe you're intentionally moving otherwise, riding a bike, whatever it is that you need to do, doing
Mhm.
yoga in the evenings, I don't know, just finding ways to burn more calories.
Right.
If you're doing that and you don't feel like your diet is that off the track, then there's other things that we should talk about.
Right.
Um,
Are you recovering? Are you
yeah,
sleeping well?
right,
What's your cortisol doing? Like, when you're hurt, your whole metabolism changes a little bit, and your cortisol goes up, plus you're stressed because and that maybe is another reason why you're eating a little bit more, is because you're stressed, and so you're trying to eat to get a little dopamine.
hmm,
But it does sound like you kind of answered it yourself, and just it's okay to plateau,
hmm,
especially while you're injured. I think that
hmm,
that's almost the goal,
right,
is just no backwards, right? That's not what we're not trying to go backwards. It's really, really hard to get better or to continue to lose while you're injured. You're injured.
right,
So give yourself some grace for that. A plateau is okay.
yep,
Um, you can't have 52 weeks a year of loss in absolute gold standard work.
right,
It's just nearly impossible. So
right,
again, don't let perfectionism get you. It's okay to be uh, you know, keeping the status quo for a little bit, especially
yeah.
while you're injured.
Injured. Yeah, like recover from the injury and then get
Mhm.
back on the horse. And we said earlier, like rest and recovery are very important things.
Huge.
And it sounds like you hit it really hard for 6 weeks.
Mhm.
Again, awesome job.
Great job.
Um, take a week or two off. Like, don't go backwards, but enjoy the plateau, live in maintenance,
Mhm.
survive, and keep moving as intentionally as you can. Keep intentional with your routines and with your diet. And then when your body's rested and recovered, then push back into it. If we're constantly building, that cortisol will build in our system, and you'll end up with adrenal fatigue or essentially too much cortisol in your system. And that can lead to all sorts of other issues, more injuries, a whole host of issues. When your
Downstream
cortisol
products.
is too high, you burn less fat. Your body goes into emergency savings mode, and that's what we don't want. So
No bueno.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
give yourself grace.
Yeah.
But pay attention to pay attention to
Continue
your
being intentional.
calories and your movement.
Yep.
And as long as those stay same, you got this.
Yeah. You're just so much better at that. This is ridiculous.
I wanted to be Gambit from X-Men for a little bit of my youth there.
Practice.
He's the coolest X-Men for a while.
All right, we've got a new segment.
Ooh.
New segment called Hot Topic.
Hot. Don't burn yourself.
Woohoo! So hot.
All right. Tell me more about it. What is it?
All right. So the hot topic in this segment, I think we're going to bring it back every week whenever we record this. We'll get regular with it eventually. Chill. But in the hot topic, we want to talk about what our favorite fitness fads and trends are.
Yes.
And we just want to like touch base on what we're seeing on the social medias and what we're liking and disliking.
For sure.
But then we're gonna
a little bit of silliness.
And
a little bit of serious.
But then we're gonna like pull up something that's been talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And like today, I mean, we'll get to it, but there's a certain study that's been circulating, and we're gonna talk about that study and what it means for people in the weight room and in the gym.
Okay, well, so then where should we start?
All right, so let's start with what's your favorite fitness fad or trend on social media right now?
Fitness fad or trend?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, not fitness related. Somehow I got onto trains. I liked Amtrak. I've been getting so many silly choo-choo videos. I sound like I'm a special boy right now, but they've been great. I can't suggest train Instagram enough, but...
All right, so reel it in. The question was, what's your favorite fitness fad?
Fitness fad. Big into Alpha Dad stuff. I think Alpha Dad is hilarious, but also commendable, because I think that's what low-key all of us, like older guys, want to be as Alpha Dad. So for sure.
That's like the thing where they like, open up the garage, right? And then they like lift in their driveway for the whole neighborhood to see.
Oh, it's
the Alpha Dad.
Yeah, it's 35 plus male thirst traps for sure that they're trying.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Saw one guy, dad on his roof, like doing bicep curls to assert dominance over his cul-de-sac, which I thought was awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that one. Okay. And then also I've really liked the reels about I have to supplement with nerd clusters because I have a condition where my body does not inherently make nerd clusters on its own.
I have seen these. I saw another one the other day too. It was the same thing.
It resonates with me.
They were talking about what do I like? The sweet tart ropes.
Yeah.
And same thing. They were like, if you see me eating sweet tart ropes, it's because I suffer from a genetic disorder where my body does not make its own sweet tart rope.
Hilarious. So Alpha Dad, nerds, and then trains. Choo-choo.
With the shimmy.
That's how they chug-a-chug.
Okay, my favorite fitness trends.
Do tell.
I really like the Nerds Clusters thing too.
For sure.
I've seen a handful of those. Like the Nerds Cluster, I think was the first one that I saw, but then the Sweet Tart Ropes was
fun. Yeah.
And I just think that's hilarious. So two things. One thing is a trend literally right now.
Okay.
And it's the Liver King.
Yeah.
It is the train wreck that we cannot look away from.
Crack out 5,000.
So many mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
Because my brain's like this, like I can't look away.
It's bad.
I want to know what happens. But I also just feel so bad for this man and his family because he's clearly crashing out on social media and the entire world. I mean, like, here I am talking about it on our little podcast, Diddly, and other people are capitalizing on it, and it's just so sad.
It's the thing, he's so polarizing, and then he's got a vendetta versus Joe Rogan.
For some reason.
Which, all right.
Yeah.
And also, like, if they fought,
It
That
would
would
be
be
a
a
cool
big,
fight.
cool fight.
Who do you
So
think?
Rogan for
I
sure.
think so. I
I
agree.
mean, maybe the Leather King has
Isn't
like
Liver King
leathery,
just as
sweaty.
short?
Yeah, he's not
Isn't
very
he
big.
like
He's like
5'5"
175
too?
pounds.
Oh,
I
he's
think Rogan's like 200, but they're both very short. Short
yeah.
kings for life,
Short Kings. Oh, so that's the train wreck we can't look away from.
for
So
sure.
that's I am very entertained by that. I wouldn't call it a favorite fad or trend. I think High Rocks is having a moment.
High rocks for sure.
High Rocks is having a moment. And when it first popped up onto the scene, I was like, what is this? Like, is this just
Mm,
another CrossFit? And honestly, it is. Um, but High Rocks is like the whole what does High Rocks stand for? It's like hybrid athletes basically.
who rocks?
Um, who rocks. But I think it's so wonderful. Like I love the idea of yeah, we're in
They're
the
very
gym,
cool.
we're weightlifting, we're strength training and we're just resistance training, but then we're also runners and we're doing the cardio and we're the hybrid
Hmm.
athlete
Hmm.
movement is like sign me up. I think it's
Right.
great.
And I think it's almost always like a pair.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of spouses doing it.
Yes, or like best friends signing
Yeah,
up to do it together.
which is
Love
awesome.
that.
Anytime there's fitness and activity
You
with
wanna do High
friendship.
Rocks with me?
Yeah, no,
We should do High
I will. I mean, only if we get matching banana outfits, and then I'll do
We'll
it with
do
you.
a Halloween rock.
Halloween high
Halloween.
rocks.
Maybe we should put one on Halloween rocks.
Oh my gosh.
All right, here we go. Damn it.
I think the hot topic is you throwing these these deals. All right.
Okay.
So here's the big one. So I don't know if you want to go to this or what the
Yes,
play is
so
here.
this is I am gonna pull some things up just so I can like reference things
Hmm.
and not like botch the stats and whatnot.
But the hot topic is cold plunge. Cold plunge has been having a moment for a while. It's so hot right now,
Mm-hmm.
and but we saw a bunch of not a bunch of studies, but a bunch of videos about people talking about how it limits hypertrophy and how it limits muscle gain. So we dug into it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Cold plunge does have a lot of upsides,
For sure.
but what are some downsides?
So there's a study, it was done in 2020.
Hmm. So
So
it's
it's
not,
been around,
yeah.
it's not new, but for whatever reason, it's been brought back up recently.
Hmm.
And you'll see some of like the big podcasters talking about it. Peter
Hmm.
Attia just openly changed his stance on cold plunging.
For sure.
You've seen a handful of people talking about it, and it's all
Based
kind of
around these.
circulating around this study. There are other studies that have been done, but
Mhm.
this is kind of the main one. So basically, in a nutshell, I mean, I can like show you all the little graphs and stuff, and we would all be so confused. But in a nutshell, what they found is that after cold immersion, uh, if you did it after intense exercise, it
Mhm.
actually limited muscle hypertrophy,
Yes,
meaning that it was limiting your muscle and strength gains.
correct.
So it is great for anti-inflammatory purposes, and that is still true. That is still the
For
fact.
sure.
But that same avenue in your muscles is also meant for hypertrophy, and so it's
Correct.
also muting the muscle gains that you
Yeah,
get.
so we looked into this together. Basically, cold plunges decrease, muscle signaling, and that's one of the mechanisms that decreases inflammation. Well, inflammation is part of the healing process that leads to hypertrophy. So if you're decreasing that muscle signaling, you're also going to get decreasing hypertrophy results. Again, not saying cold plunge is bad. It still
No.
has great efficacy. It helps turn yellow fat into brown fat. It can help,
Mhm.
boost a little bit of metabolism by improved mitochondria, and definitely releases norepinephrine,
Mhm.
and it doesn't take very much of it a day or per week to even get results.
Right.
Either to 1 to 2 minutes a day or up to 11 minutes a week is kind of the threshold for the benefits.
Against.
We're only saying if you're gonna cold plunge, don't cold plunge maybe an hour or two before your lift or within a couple hours after.
Right. That's what most of the studies, most of the stats show is that if you're doing it right before you lift or right after you lift, meaning within an hour or two,
Hmm.
either way, that's when it's limiting stuff. So if you're going to work out in the morning, maybe you cold plunge in the evening. And that's a great idea because
Yeah.
cold plunging has been shown to help lower body temperature, which
Hmm.
helps us sleep better. And
Hmm.
so, I mean,
Decreases stress.
it decreases stress. And I mean, hot cold therapy alone, hot therapy alone, contrast therapy, when you do them kind of together in tandem, it can, you
So it
know,
has great
it
benefits.
has great benefits, and it trains your cells. Why do we work out, right? We're training our bodies to be able to handle stress.
Mhm.
In a nutshell, like that's what
Mhm.
we're doing. And being in extreme hot
Mhm.
helps your cells, helps your mitochondria build. It creates this reaction to where you're now able to handle greater stresses and heat, and
Right.
vice versa. When you're doing it in a cold plunge, it's the same thing. We're basically training ourselves cells to be able to
Be resilient.
be resilient.
Absolutely.
So great thing.
Great thing. We're not saying
Um,
don't cold plunge.
right.
We're just saying be cognizant of when you cold plunge, especially if your goals is hypertrophy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to cover today?
Cool. Cool.
Here, let's finish it like this. You get one, and I get one.
Who can go the farthest?
And this is how we end it. And if you hit that camera,
Okay.
you get $100.
This is me. I got
1,
this.
2, 3. Ooh, that was close.
I didn't go anywhere again.
You're doing great. All right. See you guys.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.